Martin, welcome to our studio today.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you for inviting me. It's a privilege to be here.
Well, it's an opportunity for us to let the rest of our viewing public and all of the residents of Ventura County get an opportunity to see the people that are candidates for public office and get an idea of what, they're all about. So here's an opportunity for you to talk to me and our viewing public and let us know. Evidently, we chatted just before we went on air that you were born in Ventura County. So share with us your own upbringing in the county and where you are now.
Thank you. Born in Port Hueneme, Belinda Hospital is no longer there, fortunately, but I was raised in Ventura. I'm a native of Ventura County. Been living here my entire life, minus 4 years of active duty in the United States Air Force. But aside from there, the last 18 years I've been living in Santa Paula with my wife Holly. We finished raising our 4 boys.
Wow.
And so, I've been here my entire life and I love it.
How old are the boys?
Actually, 32, 30, and twin boys that are 23.
Well, at that time, we have any grandchildren?
Absolutely. 4 beautiful grandchildren, a 13-year-old grandson, 11-year-old granddaughter, 6 and 7-year-old granddaughters.
Well, you and your wife are certainly blessed people.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I think I asked you after high school, you mentioned that you went into the Air Force.
Absolutely. Immediately finishing high school. Matter of fact, I went in the delayed enlistment program, signed up before I graduated, so I knew I was going. I went in, served 4 years of active duty in the U.S. Air Force. I was stationed in Tucson, Arizona. I was actually a medic. I worked in the hospital there and got trained very well frankly, as a paramedic. They completed paramedic training for us. And I performed every duty possible in the hospital, worked in intensive care, in the general ward, the OB ward, the emergency room, all the different clinics, just to get a vast experience of everything that takes place in the hospital. Went on a couple air evac flights with the helicopters. It was very, very good experience. It taught me at that time, Bob, that working with the public, working with these dependents of the military, working with the retirees especially, and just enjoying listening to their stories and their experience and their wisdom, that I really enjoyed working with people. So I really decided at that point, well, when I look back at it actually, I knew that I was destined to work with people.
Well, it sounds like you also enjoy helping people.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And that brings us, you've been very active in a major nonprofit here in Ventura County, and before, share with us, your involvement there, and then we'll chat about something that I'm sure everybody would like to see.
Okay. Absolutely. Thanks, Bob. And it's Interface Children Family Services. I joined their board of directors less than a year ago, just under a year ago. Back in '98, however, was when I was first introduced to them when they hired me as the director of the Family Resource Center in Santa Paula, which was a intervention program for at-risk youth there in the community, 13 years old and younger. So we were trying to get them early before they got further involved in the legal system, or see how we could be of assistance to the whole family, because it was a collaboration of 5 different agencies. We had a staff of about 14 individuals, multidisciplined staff, from therapists, alcohol and drug counselors, mentors, tutors, so they would provide almost anything that the family would need in terms of services to help support them to be a success in the community. So that program ran for 3 years. Matter of fact, during my tenure, 3 years, before I got introduced to Supervisor Long. We'll talk more about that in a minute, but the Family Resource Center still exists in Santa Paula. It's grown some real extensive roots. The community's taken ownership of it. I continue to be involved in it on their advisory board, and like I say, on the Interface's board, and I really do enjoy that.
Well, just recently you represented Interface at the Salsa Festival.
Absolutely.
If Byron can take a little hint, maybe we could show a little bit of your dance skills at that Salsa Festival.
That'd be great.
Byron?
They call you Lady Luck, but there is room for doubt. At times you have a very unladylike way of running out.
Well, now that we see the real skills of Martin, have you always enjoyed dancing?
I have, as a matter of fact. In sixth grade, a couple of buddies and I would go pay $5 every Friday, local school there next to our elementary school, and go pay for an hour of lessons and an hour of free dance, because that was our first opportunity getting to dance with the girls in the class. So
oh wow,
we did do that, but at the same time we learned the cha-cha, the waltz, the foxtrot, and dances like that I still remember, that I enjoy doing with my wife, and will enjoy doing more now that I've caught the dance bug, if you would, because that salsa festival was sure an enjoyable experience.
It was so far and above it, beyond anything I had ever really anticipated it turning out to be. And certainly, as you know, we're here at our studio is at Food Share, and
Right.
Bonnie Weigel was certainly a contestant last year.
Absolutely.
And this year you. So we're really privileged to have you here in our studio as a real good dancer. We enjoyed that. But
Thank you.
let's get on. The real important factors that we're here for today is that you've recently announced that you are going to become a candidate for the Santa Paula City Council. Can you share with our viewers what has made you make that decision to now get into politics after doing all the things that you've done with some nonprofits in your own career?
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Bob, for the opportunity to share that with you. It was a decision that I made. Didn't take it lightly, because of course, it involves a family commitment, time, but fortunately I have the full support from my family, particularly my wife, and I just kept paying attention to what was going on in my hometown, and just becoming more and more unhappy with some of the decisions that were being made, not because I know all the right decisions, but because of the way they were being made. I just felt like there was an exclusion of public participation, whether it was intentional or not. There's not the transparency that I'm used to, given the experience I've had in the last 12 years working for the county. So I just felt compelled to get involved and try to make a difference for my neighbors and the residents of Santa Paula, being that it's my hometown.
We did glance over that, your involvement with Supervisor Long. You've been active for how long?
Almost 12 years now. I've been on her staff as her administrative assistant. For the last year and a half, her chief of staff. So during that time, I've just gained a vast knowledge of experience and education about how government runs, from budgets to watershed issues, landfills, public safety, public health, building and safety, environmental health, just all the different departments. It's amazing the knowledge that you gain, not only from interacting with those different departments, but also watching the board meetings and reviewing the agendas for the supervisor on a weekly basis and briefing her on those issues, and just learning intimately about how government runs. So when I was watching that and their inclusion of the public process through public hearings during the budgets and public workshops and things of that nature, started watching this in my hometown and thinking, that's not happening here. And it's a shame, because as elected officials, they're there to do what is right for the people and listen to the people and involve the public. And I just wasn't seeing that, and I started hearing more and more complaints about that from people, and reaffirming the need for new ideas, new perspective, experience on the council. And when I started thinking about that and all the experience I gained by working at the county, I thought it would be a perfect fit.
So it sounds like your major thing is that you really believe that you could do something good for the citizens of Santa Paula, that it's in your heart to use all of what you've learned over these 12 years about how county government operates and take that down. I would think that's an attribute to a council person, to be familiar with the way the county runs.
Right. Well, no, thank you, Bob. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the perspective of coming from my heart and knowing what I believe is right for the residents of Santa Paula. I mean, I've been exposed to the community for not only the 18 years that I've lived there, by doing work for the Family Resource Center for Interface, and over the 12 years, because that community is in the 3rd District, which the supervisor represents. So throughout all those years, I've not only gained knowledge of what the resources are available to that community to assist them, but also what the needs are out there. So I feel pretty equipped to kind of hit the ground running, if you would. I'm not intimate with all the details that are involved in what that council is facing right now, but I do know the process to making those decisions could certainly involve the public a little bit more. And just, you know, with the experience I've had, I'm sure I could be an attribute to them, without a doubt.
Well, it's certainly been our pleasure to have you here in our studio. We certainly wish you, the best of luck in achieving your goals, and if we could ever be of help to you in the future, please do not hesitate to call. Again, thank you so much for coming.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you for the invitation, Bob. It's been a pleasure.
Before we quit, there's something very important we almost forgot. If people want to get in touch with you, do you have a website that they can contact you and maybe even make some donations to your campaign?
Actually, probably the best way at this point, because a lot of that's being formed, would be they can contact me via my email, which would be pcnova54@gmail.com.
Okay.
There will be a Facebook being launched here within the next day or two. I have my first launch event this Sunday, so they can stay tuned, and I'll be getting the word out.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much again, Martin, and good luck to you.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate the opportunity.